This is Rob Temple for Boxing Social in association with Betfred. Delighted, as always, to be joined by former cruiserweight and heavyweight champion of the world, the Haymaker, David Haye. We're here in sunny Las Vegas. Hi, David.
I'm not bad, enjoying the sun. It's perfect out here. The perfect storm. You got two of the big boys going to go at it again for our viewing pleasure, and I cannot wait. This is one of those rare fights that you just can't wait. Every time you've heard about it in the past, everyone's got an opinion. Everyone thinks they know what's going to happen, and the fact that the opinions are so contrasting, depending on who you're talking to, means you're going to see a good fight.
I'm going to go straight into it because we're on limited time here. Who do you think is going to win the fight, David, and why?
I think Deontay Wilder is on the form that you would require going into such a tight fight. First fight was very close. You know, I had Tyson Fury sort of scraping it, even with the two knockdowns against him. I thought he did enough. The majority of the rounds, I thought he just scraped the majority of the rounds with the superior boxing skills, with a jab, moving his feet. I believe you get that one opportunity once against someone like Wilder. Wilder, you won't. I don't believe he's the type of guy to make the same mistake twice. You know, he learnt a painful lesson that night getting a draw. You know, I didn't quite ruin his career, ruin his record, but he doesn't like that draw. He wants to eradicate that draw and turn it into a knockout victory. The same way he had a blemish on his career when Bermane Stiverne lost to him on points. You know, he wanted to go one better and knock him out. And even the fight with Luis Ortiz, when he got hurt in one of the rounds and won that fight, he wanted to go back into that fight to show he's better this time around. And as far as I'm aware, he showed it. He knocked him clean out of one shot. It doesn't get any cleaner than that. Although he was losing the rounds up until that point, it's a 12-round fight, and it's who can win the fight in the 12 rounds the easiest way. I can't think of any other heavyweight on the planet who could beat Luis Ortiz in the ease that he beat him. He let him win a few of the early rounds, waited, opportunity, go to sleep, give him my belt, let's move on to the next one. That for me is ultimate confidence, and only a heavyweight champion in his prime can go out there and give away 7 rounds, not worried, knowing at some stage he's going to land that equaliser. And that's what I believe makes him, that significantly separates him from the rest.
There's obviously been a lot of talk going into this fight about Ben Davison and the change into Tyson Fury's training camp going into the fight. Obviously, we've seen you doing the work with Ben Davison and the analysis. Correct me if I'm wrong, but you seem very impressed with Ben Davison's insight into the fight. Talk to me about the change and how you expect that to impact on this fight.
No, I've been very impressed with Ben Davison. I hadn't heard of Ben Davison up until when he started working with Tyson Fury. And obviously, when you never heard of someone before, you're a bit sceptical early doors. He comes back with this new guy that I hadn't really heard of. And then I start seeing the performances. You know, the first 2 combat fights were okay. He was just shaking out the ring rust and just getting to grips with, you know, being back in the ring. He's no longer 28 stone, he's 18 stone now. So I knew there was going to be a bit of figuring it out. But then they jumped in there with Deontay Wilder straight away. I thought it was a bit early. I thought he could have used 1 or 2 more fights to prove that he's at the level to beat a Wilder. He didn't need that. He went out there, and many people believe he did enough to win the fight on points. He got a controversial draw. But it showed that, you know, Ben knows his stuff. He masterminded a strategy that no one else had done up until that point, and he nearly executed it. If it wasn't for, you know, the British judge calling it a draw, many people would have had Fury winning that fight. But, you know, thank God that happened, because here we are again to see it again. And he had a couple more fights against Schwartz, and Wallin since then looked okay. Last fight didn't look that great, got a bit of a cut, but it's against a southpaw. He's not used to fighting southpaws. I think it's a stretch. It's a very, very risky strategy, changing a coach so close to the most defining fight of your career, the biggest fight of your career, when everything matters is at stake. You know, all of the hard work, all of the training camps, all of the struggles from depression, from drug abuse, from all of the struggles. He's finally come back to a point when all he needs is 1 more win, and that solidifies him as, you know, the man. And you change your coach 2 months prior to it. It's a risky strategy, but, you know, a risky strategy. Maybe only someone like Tyson Fury can make that big move, make that switch. It takes a special person to find the way to win, to have that winnability factor. And up until this point, when I've written Tyson Fury off in the past, when he was going to fight Vladimir Klitschko, I didn't give him a chance to win that fight.
But he did. He found a way to win. He won in a manner that I didn't believe he could do. Now he's saying, I'm going to go and walk Deontay Wilder down and knock him out. I'm like, nah, I don't really think he could do that. Well, I didn't think he could do that against Vladimir. So he likes proving people wrong. And I'd like to be proved wrong. If he wants to come out there and go toe-to-toe with Wilder, I know as a fan, as a boxing fan, sitting back, we're in for a hell of a treat. So no matter what he tries to do, whether he tries to box, whether he tries to slug it out, the fans, on BT box office are going to be very, very excited with what they're going to see, because they're going to see two men in their prime, ready to go, and I'm absolutely buzzing. I cannot wait. 48 hours away, we're soon going to find out who the main man is.
Final question, because I said we're very pushed for time here, very popular man in these parts. I mentioned about you doing the work with BT Sport. We've seen all of the viral clips of yourself and Big John Fury. Seems to have a interesting relationship with you, should we say. Where does that stem from? Do you think that goes back to the Tyson Fury fights, that didn't happen? It was a very spicy encounter with yourself and Big John.
No, John loves his son. John, is his son's biggest fan, obviously. And, it's obviously not nice to hear someone saying your son isn't going to win the biggest fight of their life. I get that. But I also, as a boxing pundit now, as someone who tries to give their honest opinions on a matter, if my son was to fight Mike Tyson, I'd say Mike Tyson will knock him clean out really quickly. No, but it doesn't mean I love my son any less. It's about who do I think's going to win this fight. It's not about a popularity contest or who do I want to win. It's who do I look at two fighters, who do I think's going to win. And I just see Deontay Wilder's knockout power is just too significant in a fight where someone's changing their coach, where I'm getting sketchy-ish reports out of the training camp, where things aren't sounding as smooth as they were prior to this fight. So my humble opinion is Deontay Wilder's punch power is going to be too much. That's just how I see this fight. And I'd like to be proved wrong. If Tyson Fury comes out and puts on another masterclass like he did first time, I'll be there with my popcorn out. I'll be watching it. I'll be enjoying it. I just want to see the best fight the best, and whoever wins this fight, I want to see the unification with Anthony Joshua. We need an undisputed, no questions asked heavyweight champ, where every single person, regardless whether you're from America, whether you're from England, Ireland, wherever you're from, you can say, this is the number one in this area, in this heavyweight division. And it's going to be either Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury, or Anthony Joshua. One of those three right now, we're going to find out who officially is number one. And we're going to get down to the top two in 48 hours. And it's a nice place to be in the world of boxing.
Okay, well, David Haye, always a pleasure catching up with you. Thanks very much for speaking to Boxing Social, and maybe catch you at the table sometime this week.
Definitely. See you soon.
Thanks.